All right. It is Tuesday. Welcome to the Chad Prather Show. Good morning, everybody. Oh, Jimmy Kimmel has been uncanceled. We're going to talk about some of the things that happened Sunday at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. We're going to talk about Tylenol and the tism and a lot of other things. Hope everybody's doing well. It is good to be back. We're going to jump in just a minute. We're going to go over to Trump at the UN, see if he's saying anything. We want to participate in that because I know a number of you have been watching that. Some of you might be tired of hearing Trump talk. I mean, he went on forever at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. We'll talk about that as well. Get my new book, Born for Meaning. Go to bornformeaning.com. We actually sold out there, but we got more coming in. And I'll make sure they're signed for you. Also, you can get it over on Amazon. Leave me a rating and review. And I want to encourage you guys, while I've got your attention right up front, not only to jump in the chat, leave us a comment, and participate with your dancing banana, but I want you to go over to where Before the Noise is found on Apple Podcast. We broke the top 20, folks. We broke the top 20 in faith and religion category, which is a big category, actually. But I would like to push it on up into the top 10, and that takes you leaving a rating and review. You can also listen to it over there. Just let it play in the background. It'll do you some good. But having a good time doing that. All right, let's just do this. Let's bring Party Foul Steve on here, and then let's jump over to the UN. Let's see what Trump's saying here. He's probably going to talk for another 400 hours. Bring him on here, and let's take a look. What's up, Party Foul? What's going on, big dog?
What's going on? You kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to come on that quick.
I know. It's because you weren't listening to what we were saying in the pre-production meeting before the show.
I was listening, but I was also trying to listen to Trump, and I'm also trying to catch up on some guy got killed by a tiger. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
Dude got killed by a tiger, huh?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Look at Kevin Wade putting the dancing banana on there. All right, let's turn the volume up. Let me hear what Trump's got to say. Let's play a little bit of this right here. He is live. Teleprompter froze up on him, and that's probably a dangerous thing because maybe we don't have Trump. We're just figuring it out.
Escalator didn't work.
The escalator.
Yeah, I said that for you. And
I know
the
you did.
teleprompter quit as soon as before he even started talking. I think it's sabotage. I promise you, it's sabotage.
Well, it's the UN, and probably is sabotage. They try to do whatever they can control over there. We were going to go over there to him. David has got a hit over on Newsmax, and so we never know when he might have to check out. Yeah, it's okay. The David's in our ear. It's all good. He's got a couple of things going on the production side of stuff. We'll get it over there in a minute. It's not a big deal. Man, it was a miracle that happened on Sunday, and I'll tell you more about that because I wanted to give you some of my takes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there was some ugly, not the kind of ugly you would suspect over there. Just some things that I hope that we can navigate and correct a little bit. Anyway, I'll talk about that later on. Party Foul Steve, I wish you'd have been there with me at the Charlie Kirk Memorial.
I would have liked to have been there for about the first hour. And then after that, I'd be like, nope, I gotta go.
It was a powerful setting, right? I understand it wasn't just listening to speeches. It was a powerful setting, and I'll describe some more of that here in a little bit. Pull Trump up there if you've got him now, David, and let's see what he's got going on.
So together, let us uphold our sacred duty to our people and to our citizens. Let us protect their borders, ensure their safety, preserve their cultures, treasure, and traditions, and fight for their precious dreams and their cherished freedoms. And in friendship and really a beautiful vision, let us all work together to build a bright, beautiful planet, a planet that we all share, a planet of peace and a world that is richer, better, and more beautiful than ever before. That can happen. It will happen. It will happen, and I hope it can happen and start right now, right at this moment. We'll turn it around. We're going to make our countries better, safer, more beautiful. We're going to take care of our people. Thank you very much. It's been an honor. God bless the nations of the world. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the way he does it like me. He just says bye. I've never known how quite to end the show, so I just say bye.
I like how,
love y'all. God bless you. Bye.
We got right into the part about countries preserving their culture, and that's one of those things I think as Americans that if we don't keep protecting the borders like we've been doing and stuff like that, and just letting people come in, we're not going to preserve our culture.
Well, the interesting thing, and one of my takeaways just on the surface from what Trump was saying there at the UN was not just about America preserving its culture, but about other countries preserving their culture. And there's something, we're not trying to make the rest of the world America.
Absolutely
Nobody
not.
wants that. Nobody wants that. I mean, there's injustices in the world that we wish could be corrected and things that could be done differently. But, America, as I said on the show last week, we did it different. We did it different here. Like, we weren't interested in kings and czars and emperors. We decided that we wanted people to have the power. Unfortunately, tyranny is an easy path because you'd much rather let somebody else run the show and you just sit back and ride in the back seat, right? Well, the problem is you don't get a lot of ability to speak about where you're going to go. You're at someone else's disposal. But now, in our country, we've gone from a place of having people with elected duties or delegated authority to having appointed bureaucrats that we had no say in them being there, and you can't get rid of them. So they're like a tumor. They're like a parasite that just keeps on growing, except the parasite has gotten bigger than the host. And that's what America's bureaucracies are. So it's kind of disgusting, man. And yeah, it's funny that, as you said, the escalator broke down. He was halfway up. And then the teleprompter went down. But can you imagine if that had happened to Joe Biden?
It's like,
Can you imagine how bad that?
Trump made jokes about it and says, I could do it without it, and he did fine.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't matter. I mean, then he went for another hour, so whatever. And Trump did go a little bit longer than I wish he had gone on the speech that he gave at Charlie Kirk's memorial. I mean, Trump's going to Trump. He's going to do everything that, I wish he had better spiritual advisors than Paula White.
Agree.
And you can come at me. I don't care. I wish he had somebody that was a little more theologically sound, a little more grounded in how he needs to present himself. And I'm happy to have that debate with anybody that wants to, but you're leading him astray. You're leading him wrong down the path that's not good. So, but I'll tell you, I wish you'd been there with me. It was different from just listening to people speak, and I'm glad they let everybody have just 5 minutes to do what they did. But I'll tell you, Party Foul, it was an electric atmosphere in there in a way that you just felt God's presence in an amazing way, dude. And, there were people who were arguing about all the trash in the streets. I walked past the trash in the streets, and everybody jumped online and was talking about, oh, you guys trashed the area. No, they didn't trash the area. That's actually what was requested because they didn't have trash cans, and people were there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they were all night long. They didn't put trash cans out there because the law enforcement didn't want to have to go and police all the trash cans to see if somebody put a bomb in one of them. So there was no trash cans. There was no place to put trash. And so while everybody was inside the memorial, the TPUSA folks and just others that went out there and volunteered, they cleaned up the streets. So by the time we came out that afternoon, the streets were clean again.
Yeah, but they're not going to report that. You're not going to see that on the news.
No, you're never going to hear that.
I saw some videos of people picking up trash. So,
Yeah. They said, just leave the trash. Because I was just sitting there thinking, because the only place I saw the trash was down there where there was a few protesters out there. I mean, you got to be a trash human being to go out there and protest somebody's funeral and memorial service. I mean, you really do. There were some street preachers out there pushing their agenda, doing their thing, and they weren't preaching very well either. And so they were, that's where all the trash kind of stuff was. Everybody was kind of camped out around those gates. But anyway, it was a miracle, dude. It was an absolute miracle. You got 300,000 people packed into a memorial, 100,000 people inside, 200,000 outside, and not one single arrest, not one single fight, not one bottle thrown, not one building burned. I mean, you tell me where else on earth that happens. There was every skin color in there. There was every persuasion. You tell me where a crowd that size comes together in peace. And not because the government demanded it, but because the Spirit of God commanded it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's solid. Just look at the fruit of it. Anybody that wants to trash the right and just come in here and you want to troll this and whatever, you look at your people. You look at the other side. Every time the left takes it to the streets, it ends up in flames. You got busted windows. Police get attacked. You get chaos. They call justice. Burn down what their own hands built. Brag about the ashes. But when the right gets together, we don't riot, we worship. We don't torch cities, we lift up the prayers. We don't curse the darkness, we proclaim the light. And that was the powerful thing about it.
Yeah, it was.
It was really
powerful.
cool to watch.
Because it was a combination between I know it was a memorial for Charlie Kirk, but it was the praise and worship church service, a semi altar call. I wish he would have went through the pastor would have went through the sinner's prayer.
But what he did, and I mean, again, it was a pretty brief period of time.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. I thought it was pretty bold because what he did, and this of course was Charlie's pastor, he said, if you know the Lord, if you're a Christian, you claim to be a believer, stay seated. But if you don't, I want you to stand up. And of course, everybody saw that. And then he said, no, I want people to get around. And it was amazing to watch around that auditorium how many people not only stood up, particularly how many men stood up. In fact, the majority, pretty much everybody I saw a couple of ladies, but it was mostly men who stood up. And then how many guys came around them and spoke to them and prayed with them.
Okay, that's what we couldn't see watching on TV.
You couldn't see that. You couldn't see that, but it was very good.
I thought that for a second, that's probably what they were doing, but it was, I was just like, okay, now what? So hopefully they're guiding and directing them the right way.
Yeah, it was pretty cool because there was a number of people around them. Like there was a young man up in front of me who stood up, and there were about 5 or 6 men who came to him. And you're thinking if one person's talking to him, you hope they're telling them the right things or whatever. But out of 5 or 6 people that are coming around to pray with them and talk to them, you got to assume that he's catching the truth there. But that was power. I mean, it was real power. So the clip that I posted, Brandon Lake was there, and he was leading, and that's now viral. Him, the song about the praise song there, where everybody's singing Hallelujah. When you got at that time, I guess about 90,000 people in a room singing that, and everybody's doing that without any backing music. It was a powerful deal. Alex Stein and I had stepped out, and we were walking because here's the thing: there was the praise and worship was going on prior to the event starting. I know a lot of people saw this live. But it was very powerful in there then. But then they came out and they were doing that in the middle of the event. And I was walking to the back because I was going to get a water. And we were walking, and I got about 3/4 of the way to the back I was on the floor, and I got about 3/4 of the way back, and I go, stop. I just said, stop. I just looked at Alex. You know how hyper Alex is.
Yeah.
And dude, when I heard them start to go into that, I just grabbed my phone. I mean, I was worshiping, dude. I was like, it was like, just like a heavy, just warm blanket settled down on that place.
Nice.
It was power, bro.
I was kind of wondering about, all right, are you able to get up and go to the bathroom and get something to drink whenever you want and that kind of thing?
You could. Well, here was the funny thing about it, and I want to talk about this. They had the concession stands open. I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to get a hot dog at a funeral, but people were able to, and it really kind of bothered me. Like I texted our friend Victoria Robinson yesterday, and I told her, I said, you know what I just can't get over? Is the lines. And it wasn't the lines to get in, which was insane. It was the lines for people to get concessions. People were waiting in line for like an hour to get a hot dog. And I thought to myself, are we that spoiled as an American culture that we can't even just miss a meal? That we got to go get a hamburger in the middle of the funeral? Like, can you not go 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours without eating?
Now, Chad, there was people in line at midnight the night before.
And I saw the food on the ground because, as I said, the trash was there. And listen, I understand that. I get that. But again, if you're going to go out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and let me be real clear. You and I had been at a convention in Fort Worth. So on Friday, that afternoon, about 4 or 5 o'clock, that's the last meal I had eaten until I got back to my hotel Sunday night after the memorial in Phoenix, when I finally sat down and had a small meal. Let me tell you something, Steve. I was living off the fat of the land for 2 hours. Now, I get it. And we had to park. So I went 2 days without eating. And I'm looking at these people, not that I'm any better than anybody, but I was sitting there and I was hungry, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, people are waiting in line for like an hour. And I'm like, can we not pray and fast or anything like that? And it's just like, it just bugs me that we're that way. And we're all that way. We're all guilty of it, me included. I just
Yeah, I
hate that
would have
we're,
probably. That's one of the only places I eat hot dogs at a stadium is. So I would probably got a hot dog.
I mean, I didn't eat anything. I got some water and, but I was like, just chill, man. Like people were making a priority out of getting snacks.
Hey, have you ever been with some hangry women?
I'm telling you, they
You
were
better feed 'em.
there, buddy. They were there, and so I thought it
You know
was
what Jesus did
pretty
with,
interesting, man.
you know what Jesus did with 5 loaves and some fishes? Well, that's what the stadium did
Yeah,
with the hot dogs. They fed the people because they were going to be hungry. Every place except for Lola's. Lola's, I'm sure, was shut down. That's the place in the stadium that came out anti Charlie Kirk saying some nasty things.
yeah.
So
Well,
probably not there
it
anymore at
was.
all.
I mean, I was like, could you guys bring in a kind bar or something, a little granola, just a little something? But I mean, the lines were insane, dude. They were like an hour long for people to get a hot dog. I was kind of blown away by that. I was like, it sort of bothered me. It sort of bothered me that that's what we were, that's what we were up against. And so anyway,
What about alcohol? Are they selling beer?
there was no beer. There was no
Okay,
beer, which I was looking for. I was like, that'd be interesting
that
if
would be
people were
interesting.
buying beers at the memorial. But no, it wasn't that. People could get, you could get a Coke or get water or whatever. But it was a powerful thing. And I was watching this deal and I'm sitting there going, this is the kind of thing that media can't explain it. I mean, the fact that there wasn't a single arrest, I mean, you think that a bullet's going to silence Charlie Kirk, but all it did was multiply his voice a couple of 100,000 times over. I mean, 100 million people are going to watch that. Every single cabinet member, every person that the stage proclaimed to some degree or another the gospel. When Marco Rubio got up there, dude, I was ready to storm hell with a water pistol. I mean, his 90-second thing, I was like, what is up with Marco Rubio bringing the heat? And I was just encouraged, man, because so what it did, it didn't break us, but it bound us tighter, at least for that day, and I hope we can maintain it. It didn't scatter us. It rallied an army, and that was powerful, man. So I wish you'd have been there. I tell you what, let's do real quick, Steve. Let me, we're just kind of making it up as we go because, pardon me, David's got some stuff going on. He's doing a Newsmax hit today, and I think it's Newsmax, but anyway, it's good for him. And so we're just kind of cruising this ship, and I'm glad you guys are here. Blow up that chat a little bit. Let me see what you guys have to say because we are here for you. I missed being with everybody yesterday as well as on Before the Noise. Before the Noise is just absolutely the highlight of my day. I love doing it. But let's talk about my friends over at Allied Oilfield, AlliedOilfield.com. Let's see if I can do this. Look at that. Bam. See if I can do it. See? Look at it.
Yep, you can do it.
Wait,
Pay
I
the
can do
bills.
it.
Pay the bills.
There it is right there. I did it. Look. AlliedOilfield.com. Check them out, AlliedOilfield.com. They are the industry leader in the oil and gas and as well as the trucking industry over there in Levelland, Texas. Out in West Texas, you can go check them out at AlliedOilfield.com. If you need that equipment refurbished or you need new equipment, they can help you out. They've been doing this stuff for a couple of decades. Help us drill, baby, drill. So go over there and see about what they got. Buy some. Let me look at the hat. That's a good-looking hat. I wish I could wear those Richardson 112s. I just can't because I got a big old head. It's a big old nugget.
Same size as mine. Yours is just shaped odd.
It is shaped. It's like a broken lima bean. I've seen the shape of it. But call them up, 855-EQUIP-US. If you're in the trucking industry or if you're in the oil and gas industry, I need you guys to check them out. They got some pretty cool stuff going over there, and I appreciate their partnership with the show. All right, let me see if I can turn that back off. There we go. We good. Whenever you look at the left, though, and the way that they have this fury and the riots, they're going to destroy. There's a difference between fury and faith. That's where we are. They got a rage that's going to tear things down, but we got a worship that's going to raise things up. And I think we're in the throes, like the birth throes, if you will, of the just kind of the birth pangs of maybe another great awakening. And I think it's going to start with young people, particularly young men. And so I hope that we can be there to help and equip and speak and guide a little bit with some wisdom and vision about where this zeal is going to go. Because you can only have so many memorial services. And I will tell you, Steve, and I hate making this a thing. I hate even saying this out loud, but if you guys think Charlie Kirk's the last martyr, you're wrong. These people, they're out for violence, but they're not going to learn. Satan's never going to learn that when you pour out the blood of innocent people, it screams from the ground. And so what I'm encouraging people to do is pray, 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 lean in. Don't miss what God is doing in this hour. Because I don't think that memorial service was the end. I think it was a spark. It was a spark of renewal, refreshing, revival for people of faith. God's calling people to himself. I think there's awakenings happening. I think it's a spark of courage. And so every time we see the left riot or those videos of them burning things, I think we need to remember that we need to kneel and pray. And that's what we're doing. We always talk about taking the high road and going above when they go below. I think Sunday was a mark of that. And I will tell you, prayer is the thing that's shaking this nation harder than any riot ever could. That's why I continue to post them, just because I think that's what's important. And I don't think we're done. I don't think we're going to back down. We're standing, we're worshiping, we're marching forward, because again, this is way bigger than Charlie. This is way bigger than Erica. This is way bigger than Turning Point. This is about the people of God across the board. This is America, that our nation, that I think heaven is breathing on right now. And I think it's a movement that hell just can't contain. And I think that what we're experiencing, what we're feeling right here, right now, is only the beginning. Now, I want to hear your take on this, Stephen. I'd love to see what you guys have to say in the chat about this, so blow it up. But I want to answer some questions, too, because I see a few of them popping up, and they come kind of quick, and I see them, and I get a little bit distracted because I want to answer them immediately. But I know that I'm experiencing some change in me. I'm experiencing some renewed change, even in the last 48 hours. Some things where I'm repenting of some things that maybe I've taken for granted, or some things that I've excused in my own life. And, little things. I mean, they're all little things, because everything's little to God. If you think it's a big thing, then you got a small God, because God don't have big things. He's the big thing. God is the big thing. And if you think something's too big for God, then you're just calling him small. So, but God's been convicting me on some stuff. And man, I'm praying, I'm praising, I'm worshiping. Never been more excited than I have been to posting some of the writings I've been putting on social media, as well as beforethenoise.com, doing the Before the Noise in the morning. And I'm getting messages from people like Kaylee McEnany she messaged me yesterday just saying, thank you for the witness. And that was a surprise encouragement. But so many people, and a lot of people are leaving reviews on beforethenoise.com and sending me emails from over there. And it's just encouraging, man. What are you feeling, Steve?
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna back up even before this event. I'm gonna back up about 2.5 years ago. I started having some convictions in my own life, and I had to make some changes. And I made those changes, and they were drastic.
Yeah.
And it's coming to, I guess it's coming to a point of, I know where God was sitting. I know what he was doing to me, I guess, if that's what.
Yeah.
Sometimes God lets you do stuff. And, but anyway, it's headed in the right direction, I should say. It brought me back to the Chad Prather show.
Yeah.
But it took me away too. Some of those convictions and stuff, but it also brought me back. And,
Yeah.
maybe someday in my book, that you'll get to read all about it, but I'm not going to let any cats out of the bag before my book is written.
Yeah, don't give any spoilers away. Don't give any spoilers away, Steve.
Because it's a journey, and it's sometimes it's a personal journey.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to testify completely about it. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you able to pull that mic just a little bit closer to your mouth? Can you?
Yeah,
pull it
sorry.
I
probably I get excited and I put it too low or something.
You get too fired up.
That?
A couple of people have said, I hear you fine, but we want to make sure everybody's happy on this show. That's all we care about is you, is everybody else. That's what we care about, the folks in the chat. We got about 3,000 people watching this thing. Make sure that you click like. You don't have to smash that thumbs up button, but I'd love it if you rubbed it, just touched it, and go over. People are going, if I go, Apple and Spotify is where we're putting the Before the Noise audios, 10, 15 minutes, whatever they are. And if people will go leave a rating, so you go to like Apple Podcasts, which is an app on your phone. If you've got an Apple phone, you just put podcast, and that little purple icon comes up. Search Before the Noise, Chad Prather. Go to the show page and just scroll down a little bit. And about halfway down, you'll see, after a few episodes, you'll see a place where you can hit 5 stars. And that's what we deserve. And leave a review, because that helps drive it up the ratings and the rankings, I should say. The higher they get, it says to the algorithm gods out there, oh, people want to listen to this. So they give it a little more exposure. And so it's a huge, it doesn't cost you a thing, but, 60 seconds of your time to go over there and do it. And I sure would appreciate if you did it on Apple Podcasts. And I know people are saying, well, is it over here on this? Yes, it's on all the ones. But I want the rankings on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, and do the 5-star, and then take a few more seconds and go ahead and write some. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a big. I think there's a certain amount of words it has to be. But say something really nice about it.
Yeah, and Janess, there is a way to do it over on Android. You just have to. You can go to Apple Podcasts like .com or something. So yeah, there's a way to do it. You just get over on whatever your web browser is and do that. You can also leave a rating on Spotify. That doesn't hurt my feelings either. And the reason it matters is I think that we're doing something unique that, we're not just, I'm not preaching at you. I'm letting people come into my journey a little bit. And, I've always been faith-based, regardless of how wild my humor's gotten or how off the rails I've gotten in life over the years. I've always been a person of faith. My foundation was always secure there. My relationship was there. But now it's just kind of becoming more outwardly expressive. I want to bring people along with me. And we're working through the book of John. When we get through with the book of John, we just started in John chapter 9 today. These are sort of my devotional thoughts that I'm sharing. When we get through the book of John, I don't know where we're going to go. But man, it sure has been good for me to just kind of go verse by verse through this book. And you just see how people are people, even 2,000 years ago, the human elements there. So anyway, I enjoy it. I'm enjoying doing it, and I think a lot of people are. So anyway, I just appreciate you guys so much. Let's get up above. We're almost at 3,000 people. Come on, if I had 3,000 people go over there and listen to that on Apple Podcasts, that would be fantastic.
That, a couple of years ago when I started trying to put myself back into the Word of God, morning kind of stuff like that, and I was kind of hit and miss, and did a little bit better here and there. You kind of go through, but the Before the Noise has it's like I say forced. It's what I wanted in my own life to put myself, in the Word of God early in the morning before the day starts. And so it fell right in track to where I was trying to go.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah, and I do appreciate it. People have been buying the heck out of these books right here, Born from Meaning. I mean, this book came out a week before the assassination, and this book is about heartbreak and grief and coming out of the ashes and finding unshakable joy. And so this is good. It's helping a lot of people, and so it's good. And just being able to grab it if you haven't gotten it. It's make a good Christmas gift, I can tell you that. But no, I don't know, man. I had a couple of issues. Like there were some things that just kind of, Sunday was wild. I mean, it was just crazy. I didn't know really what we were walking into. I didn't know how long this thing was going to go. I didn't know what was going to happen, what kind of messaging was going to be there. They tried to honor Charlie, like with a lot of people are complaining about the cold pyro that comes up, the sparks that go up and they would introduce people. And they started doing that when the cabinet members started speaking. A lot of people are like, oh, really? Is this a moment? No, they said it was going to be a celebration of Charlie's life, a celebration.
It was a celebration. It was also a Turning Point USA event. So,
yeah,
that's what they
and
do.
the fact that they pulled off what they did, the fact that they pulled off in 7 days, the biggest event. I mean, Taylor Swift got buried by this attendance record.
Yeah.
I mean, the Super Bowl got buried by this attendance record. It was insane, dude. And I mean, I took pictures of the crowds outside, and I know people have seen them at this point. There was no way for a camera to grasp what was there. And again, I go back, not a single arrest, not a single act of violence, nobody throwing bottles, nobody cussing each other. I mean, the protesters that were there, we just walked past them. Nobody was shouting back across the street, at least not what I saw. And I was like, this is just really cool, dude. And so, here we are. I mean, here we are in this country where we've got the ability to speak up and speak out and do it however we want to do. And I love that they had the little pyro things right there. I mean, it beats the heck out of burning down your own cities.
Yeah.
You know?
I believe Turning Point, I think it was yesterday, had their first on-campus event.
They did. Yeah, Michael Knowles went out and spoke. Michael's certainly capable and able. So they've got a number of folks lined up to go out and speak on these campuses. And so I'm proud of what they're doing. And, I said this to Charlie years ago, and I said it on stage at a Turning Point event years ago, is I said, don't make sure that you keep your focus right. You don't become a cult. Now, cult is a harsh word. But, we were talking to young people, and I didn't want them to lose perspective that they were putting someone up on a pedestal and they could say no wrong, do no wrong, because people are people, and people are always going to be fallible. And we can sit back and we can judge and we can do all these things. But I love now that we have a multiplier of exponentially of voices that are going out. And there's some capable voices that are going out there and doing what they're doing. And I'm excited to see what happens in the days ahead. But we need to pray for them, because I'm telling you, the danger is still out there. It's lurking. There's a lot of evil in this world. And if anything, we have rubbed the blister on the devil's foot. And trust me, he don't like it. He's irritated. And we just need to be praying, because it's a dangerous world we've got out there. You got the trolls that are in the chat right now. They want to come in there and they want to try to exacerbate things, and they want to, push the rhetoric as far as they can go. And that's the problem, is when you can't stand on your ideas and ideals and have an honest discussion, then you're going to start throwing that trash around because you're a narcissist that needs attention. So I hope you enjoy your dopamine hit while you get your response. But at the end of the day, the facts and the fruit remain. Not a single arrest at that event out of 300,000 people. I mean, it was a peaceful event. I mean, the Secret Service and all the security around that thing, it was a boring day for them. I'm glad to see it. People out there worshiping God. Fantastic, man.
I look forward to the Turning Point event. I mean, we've done several over the years, the events for Turning Point, and I look forward to the next ones, because, they're going to be, bigger and better.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
And I want to stress what's happening here in this country is way bigger than just Turning Point. There's other organizations, there's other places, there's other people who are doing things that are powerful. There are some churches out there. But I think that the cool thing about this is, beyond the politics and beyond the churches, that there's still something happening that's grassroots and organic that's rising up. And people are reevaluating things like faith and what their convictions are and what they believe in. And I think that's an encouraging thing, because we're all ultimately on this journey together. And as I said 30 days prior to the election, when I started posting the daily prayers, I said, politicians aren't going to save us. And these personality preachers, these celebrity preachers aren't going to save us either. You know what? Let them do what they're going to do. And I want to say what I said. I want to reiterate what I said yesterday on social media. I pray that these preachers out there, when their churches are filling up in these days post-tragedy, I hope they're not mistaking that for anointing just because their churches are filling up. And I hope that they are remaining in prayer, because it's not your hyped up sense of charisma or your talent. Because sometimes you can confuse talent for anointing. Make sure that you are before the power of God, seeking his face, and you bow down low enough that when those people do come in and fill your seats and pews, that they find Jesus and not just your overblown of importance. So that's a big thing for me, and I am in a place of life where I can speak to that with some sense of authority, because I've been in that world. I know that world. I know those people, and I've got authority to talk about that. And so the Bible says, in Peter, it says that judgment will begin in the house of God. And if you don't like what I'm saying about that, I'm telling you, and if you'll go back, back when some things were coming out last year about different preachers and things that they had done in the past. And, I think about Robert Morris at Gateway Church and those things that were happening. And I said back then, I said to these preachers, I said, if you aren't willing to deal with these things and the past, the stuff, the things that are going to beset you, God's about to do something, and you need to just resign if you're not going to get humble and get low. Because you would rather resign and go into obscurity than you would have the judgment of God come in and start exposing things, because that is not going to end well for you. And now we're starting to see the presence of God move in spite of the churches And I'd love to see in the chat what you guys have to say about that, because I think that God is moving in spite of the churches. And I'll tell you this, the church, we're not doing what Jesus commanded us to do. Jesus said, Matthew 28:18-20, those were our last marching orders. Those were the only marching orders, and that was to go make disciples of all the nations, teaching them all that he'd commanded, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he said, and when you do that, to that degree, I'm going to be with you to the end of the age. If you're not doing that, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Just standing up and preaching, entertaining, making sure the coffee's warm. That's not what we're about. We just had 165 nations over the last 4 years coming to our borders every single year. 21 million, 25 million, whatever the number may be, illegals crossing into our border. The mission field, the ends of the earth was literally brought to us, and we weren't ready. The church wasn't ready. The church wasn't ready. And here we are. We didn't go to the world, so God let the world come to us, and we weren't ready. The world's still here, by the way. And you know what? I don't care. You can have the most violent rhetoric. You can be the most hate-filled person. You can be the most leftist-leaning, want to abort a baby every single day. You can sit there, be trying to cut your genitals off, and the grace of God can still save you, transform you, change you, raise you up, resurrect you, make your blind eyes see, and give your dead heart life just as quick as you could say yes and amen. And so I'm encouraging people to say yes and amen. That's what I want to have happen.
Yes and amen.
I'm telling you, I am more unapologetic about where I am, what I believe, what my faith is. I want to use everything that I've got in these days to push people closer to Christ, push people closer to Jesus, get the kingdom of God and his way of doing things in here. Because, man, I'm seeing a fulfillment happen of something that the Lord told me 18 months ago, reiterated it again last year. And then I saw it start to happen because the Lord said, I want you to start posting these prayers. And I go, man, that kind of puts a stick and cramp in the, sticks in the flow of things here. Because I like to post my jokes and do my stuff. I did put a video out today about Gary on the hamster wheel. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Because I was sitting on the airplane yesterday, and they're like, we can't run the air conditioner. We're going to conserve power. We can't run the air conditioner until we get up in the air. And I'm like, and we were delayed an hour 15, sitting on the tarmac in Arizona, no air conditioner. And I was like, let's go. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But thank God they put Gary back on the hamster wheel. Dance a banana. That means David must be back. What do you think about this Tylenol thing? Before I get into that, let's talk about Tylenol and autism. Trump made an announcement about that. Before we do it, though, let me talk about my friends over at Birch Gold. Birch Gold, you need to text CHAD, I spell it Chad, to 989898. Go over there and let them send you a free, no obligation information kit on how you can diversify your future savings with a tax-sheltered IRA backed by physical gold. Right now, for just another week to the end of the month, they've got a deal where if you're a first-time gold or silver buyer, when you talk to them on the phone, they'll offer you potentially up to $10,000 rebate in precious metals. So that's a great deal. It's an incredible incentive. It's a great opportunity if you're looking to start your collection of precious metals. But make sure your future retirement is taken care of. They got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Just text Chad to 989898, and they'll send you that free, no obligation information kit. Please do that for me today. Text Chad to 989898. You might have that savings account, that old 401k sitting there. Make sure it's backed by physical gold. Gold's up there. It's like $3,600 an ounce, man. This stuff has gone up, and it's going to continue to go up because the dollar is being devalued. So I want you to check them out. Text Chad to 989898. All right, so I was in the car after the event, Party Foul. I was giving Sarah Gonzalez and Alex Stein and Paige a ride to the airport. And we knew that Trump had made the announcement there at the memorial that he'd fixed autism. I fixed autism. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to do that. So we went ahead and figured out what was causing the autism. So we're done. We're done with that. And he came out and he said that it was a Tylenol that pregnant women were taking. And so he and RFK Jr. have said, we want to make sure that you only use that if you absolutely need it. What are your thoughts on that? Have you had any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've had a lot of thoughts on it. What
do you think?
I've thought for years and years that we as a as I guess Americans, maybe the world, have been overusing Tylenol for decades.
Yeah.
Man, I've taken it when I didn't really need it, but I thought I might have a headache coming on. Go ahead and pop a couple, just preemptive. It's like, oh, I'm going to have to go deal with this, or hey, I'm not going to have to deal with this hangover if I take this tonight with my tequila. So I think we overuse medication anyway. So.
Yeah, we do. We do. Big Pharma is in. And Trump, obviously, he bucked them. You know, he says he announced the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of acetaminophen, also known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with increased risk of autism. Let's play the clip. Hear what he had to say.
Tylenol during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take a Tylenol, but it'll be very sparingly. It can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it. And you shouldn't take it during the entire pregnancy. They may tell you that toward the end of the pregnancy, you shouldn't take it during the entire. And you shouldn't give the child the Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally, you don't take it at all. But if you can't tough it out, or if there's a problem, you're going to end up doing it.
All right, let's stop right there. You know, that's the thing. I mean, he is going to be pissing off.
Tylenol.
That's a big industry. Tylenol.
I take 4 Tylenol. If I'm going to take it, I take like 4 at a time. That's I don't take it I try not
Which
to
is
take
basically
it
a prescription
anymore.
strength.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be taking this stuff like it's candy, and that's what we do with ibuprofen the same way. We take it. It's probably safe too, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Well,
You think about it. What do they do before your baby goes and gets shots? You pre-dose them with Tylenol right before they go get their shots. You're not supposed to do that. The doctor will tell you not to do that, but people do it. I've heard it hundreds of times.
I've never done that. Never done that.
Well, they're giving these kids 26 shots before they're 2 weeks old.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous how much stuff they do. But I can remember back when I saw somebody talking about fluoride in the water. I can remember back when I had a small farm in Georgia, and we were on a 900-foot well. You want to talk about the best, purest, cleanest, coldest water, dude? I would drink that stuff straight from the well. It was fantastic. And they would always say, you need to put fluoride in your water if you're going to brush your teeth. You need to make sure you add in the fluoride and make sure you brush your teeth with the fluoride. I was like, absolutely not. No. Never would do it. Never would do it. But I'm telling you, if they're going to spend millions upon billions of dollars to advertise crap on the TV that you're going to put in your body, I think we should always take a second look at that and be like, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to do that?
I thought they were going to put a stop to all the ads for like pharmaceutical, kind of stuff on TV. And that's all we get. Every commercial is paid for by Bayer, paid for by, Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson, every single one of them.
Yeah, it really does need to end. I mean, this is kind of crazy. Jimmy Kimmel's coming back. Sinclair. I wouldn't have a clue. But Jimmy's coming back. Sinclair, I got more to say about this later on at the end of the show when I give you my thoughts. That's the way we like to end the show. Now, Sinclair Broadcasting has refused to air it. Now, let's see. We got a little bit of breaking news on this deal. Let's see what they are saying.
32 stations, I think.
Nexstar has now joined Sinclair in announcing they will continue preempting Jimmy Kimmel following his comments on Charlie Kirk's assassination. We made a decision last week to preempt Jimmy Kimmel live following that ABC referred to as Mr. Kimmel's ill-timed and insensitive comments is a critical time in our nation's discourse. Yep. We stand by that decision pending assurance that all parties are committed to fostering an environment of respectful, constructive dialogue in the markets we serve.
That's about another 22 major markets. Or I say not major markets, but 22 other stations that are in big cities anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's our buddy Colin Rugg. And they're not going to do it. Now, let me just be real clear, because he said Nexstar, the largest, this is Nick Sorter, ABC affiliate group, is refusing to air Jimmy Kimmel on the networks. It means over 60 ABC stations will not be airing Kimmel, as the Sinclair has declined to bring him back as well. And then, of course, there's the quote again about the ill-timed decision and sensitive comments. Want to have respectful, constructive dialogue in the markets we serve. Now, let me explain something to you. Because everybody went crazy on there saying, oh, they can bring it, they're bringing him back. Screw you, Trump. Well, if Trump knocked him off, how are they able to bring him back? So, because again, that just flies in the face of the narrative. You guys were lying all the time. Trump didn't have anything to do. You say, well, the FCC threatened. The FCC has a job to do, and their job is to make sure that there's decency on the airwaves. So they can send out a deal saying, hey, tone that down, or there's going to be some consequences. Nexstar and Sinclair decided to take them off. ABC decided to, and again, I go back to what I said, because the first rule on the Chad Prather show is Chad's always right. I said he didn't get canceled. He didn't get cut off. He didn't get fired. They said they were going to just take a break. They were going to take a break. Now, I had people that I know in the comedy industry who were saying, Chad, because they were like, this is just a threat to democracy. And I'm like, he didn't lose his right to free speech. If he did, then tell me when Jimmy Kimmel jumped on YouTube to complain about his grievances. He could have done that. He could have gone on Facebook and done it. He could have gone on X. He didn't limit his ability to speak. They limited his ability to speak by his employer on those networks and those carriers. He still had his right to speak. He still had his right to speak.
He still can.
He still can. Nobody has stopped Jimmy Kimmel from saying anything he wants to say. He just wasn't allowed to say that because it violated the people who were distributing him. And so that's not a free speech thing. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole deal. What'd be cool is if Steve Helms knew that I was live at this time and would quit texting me.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that he's refusing to apologize to the Kirk family?
I don't have a clue.
Because
he ain't going to apologize. They might force him to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But if they're forcing him to and he says, nope, not going to do it, that's why those markets are going, nope.
I don't want anybody. Listen, here's the deal. I don't want forced apologies. I don't want it. I hope they don't do that. But again, I don't care about that crap. I hope nobody asks him to do that, because again, that's pressured speech right there. That's beyond free speech. That's pressured speech. Nobody wants pressured speech either.
I think that's what's happening behind the scenes.
Well, if that's truly what's going on, I don't want that. And I don't believe in canceling him either for what he said. I don't believe somebody should just lose everything because of what he said just because I disagree with it, because I don't believe there's such thing as hate speech. Pam Bondi, I'm looking at you. I believe there's free speech and there's critical thinking, because you might have the right to do something, but it doesn't make it right for you to do it. So, so you got to be careful with all of that stuff. It's a slippery slope. But I had people in the entertainment industry that I know, people are coming at me saying, you always stand with the performer, Chad. You're in the entertainment industry. You didn't stand with me, you SOBs, whenever I got canceled. You didn't stand with me whenever I got kicked off of the networks or I got blackballed. You didn't stand with me when politicalcowboy.com went from 750,000 active people a day visiting that site down to 3,500. You didn't stand with me when they knocked me off of social media. You didn't stand with Trump when they literally took his right to speak away. He had to invent an entire other app just so he could say what he wanted to say. So y'all can kiss my rear end. I got more to say about Jimmy in a minute when I do a little monologue. Because again, here's the deal. You want to call it hate speech, and I come out and say Jesus Christ is Lord of Lords, King of Kings, and every knee's going to bow and every tongue's going to confess. At what point in time is that slippery slope going to turn around and say, that's hate speech, Chad? Because they've already tried to do that stuff. I can go off. But, he was losing money for them. That's the bottom line. And guess what? Now that I'll talk about it later. I'll talk about it in a minute. But I've been censored. Trump got censored. We've all been censored. All right, Trump, I ended 7 wars. Never even received a phone call from the United Nations. Here's what he got from the United Nations. Play the clip.
I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen, but she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations: a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much.
He's so funny.
He is funny, dude. He is funny. And good Lord, Trump. He's a trip. Let's pull up a pinhead of the day. Let's do that before we get out of here. And let's see if we got that. We got a pinhead today, David. Are we back on that thing? Let's see if we got anybody. Oh, there it is. Why is not the pinhead of the day? Although I could have put a couple of things on him Sunday in that speech. Here you go. Yeah, this girl's facing some consequences. Here we go. Play this clip.
Uh-oh, I hear someone's back.
On Wednesday, September 10th, when Charlie Kirk was shot, I posted a video.
You mean this one?
Gather round, bitches. Let's all join hands and bow our heads in thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers.
Mm-hmm, right.
Well, since I posted those 2 videos, my life has been completely turned upside down, and I have been thrown into what I can only explain as literal hell.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, girlie.
Thoughts and prayers. My address was leaked, and then all of my family's personal information followed. My boyfriend's company, again, I said he's my boyfriend, he is not my husband, has been defamed and slandered. Calls and negative reviews started pouring in by the thousands. Someone showed up to his company, entered his private office, and verbally assaulted him.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. You mean this little fella?
What do you have to say about your wife?
I need you to get out, please.
What do you have to say about your wife?
I need you to get out. Business has nothing to do with this.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah? What, is it your wife or not? Justin, was it your wife? Little fella, was that your wife?
My child, and my family's lives have been threatened thousands of times.
That must really suck, doesn't it? I offer you all of my
thoughts and prayers. Sent me hate mail, left notes on my boyfriend's office, and my own neighbor has offered to share my whereabouts with the internet.
I don't hear an apology, though. All I hear is me, I, this happened to me. Where's the apology, though?
My life and my family's lives have been torn apart.
You'll be okay.
There you go. I mean, I don't think anybody should be doxxed. I don't think any of that stuff should happen. I mean, you're a pretty trash human being, but I don't have any sympathy for you. You went out there and you did your whole thing. You put yourself out there. You better deal with the circumstances. You better deal with the circumstances. And that's, you got to know going into that you're going to get some circumstances out of that. There's going to be consequences that are going to come. And those consequences sometimes can be brutal. So, FAFO in the chat.
There we go. Hey, you got a super chat in there, Chad.
Yeah, I saw one of them popped up. I don't know if we're capable of pulling those things up with the new format or not. We'll see if David can find it.
Just like Justin.
But again, it's not cancel culture. It's consequent culture. I like that whole. Justin, sorry. Kimmel's a mouthpiece for the deep state. He sold his soul for money and is no one's friend. That was Justine. Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Yep. You got to be sold out in some kind of way. You gave your soul to the devil at the crossroads for some kind of fee because you went in blackface, and then you also had the girls with the boobs dancing around on the trampoline when you were on the Man Show. So the fact that you haven't been canceled means you sold your soul for something. Because otherwise, anybody else that would have done that would have been ridiculous.
Charles Barkley, he did blackface.
Yeah,
he did it good. That was funny. I mean, if you can laugh about that kind of thing these days.
You mean you weren't offended, Steve?
No, I wasn't offended.
You weren't offended?
Funny. I didn't get offended over the black comedian that dressed up like a white guy and went to NASCAR. I laughed so hard. I sent it to everybody I knew.
There you go. There you go.
Funny.
All right. We got to get out of here. I got another thing I want to say to you. Everybody follow at PartyFoul Steve. His favorite social media site is Venmo. So if you want to send him $2, and I encourage everybody to get my book as well, Born for Meaning, and having a good time with it. All right, guys, let's do my final word. Come on. All right, so Jimmy Kimmel supposedly reinstated. Let's talk about that, all right? So he's supposed to be back on the air, the network executives. The way I picture that happening is they probably sat around those, some mahogany table. I've sat at those tables in those executive offices, in those network conference rooms. They're probably sipping their latte and patting themselves on the back saying, look, we're going to bring Jimmy back and we're going to be the heroes. The ratings are about to soar, and America is collectively yawning because here's the reality. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Jimmy Kimmel. It's amazing for me to see all of these leftist rereads out there, these progressives on X saying, we love Jimmy Kimmel. Nobody loves. What are you talking about? Nobody's sitting around their dinner table saying, honey, cancel our plans. Kimmel's back on tonight. Nobody's setting their DVR. Nobody's calling up their friends to say, hey, let's have a watch party. You know why? Because late night TV isn't freaking funny anymore. It's not dangerous. It's not edgy. It's not fresh. It's stale. It's like biting into a week-old donut you found under the seat of your car. You can eat it. Yeah, you can eat it, but you're going to wish you hadn't. Now, back in the day, Johnny Carson would pull in 1 million viewers. Letterman, Leno, they had cultural impact. If they told a joke on Monday night, you were talking about it Tuesday morning at the water cooler. But Kimmel's monologues are less water cooler talk and more background noise at the dentist office. And here's the thing, folks. Kimmel, he's done some funny stuff. He's done some pranks. He had his sketches. He wasn't afraid to laugh at himself, but he's turned into a political preacher. Yeah, he sold his soul. He's got a laugh track. He's got paid seat sitters. Every punchline has a sermon hiding behind it, and every monologue sounds like it's been approved by the DNC interns. That's not comedy. It's propaganda with a rim shot. Now, when the announcement came on that he was reinstated, I could kind of collectively hear the groan of the American people saying, oh, great, another round of Hollywood scolding us for not being progressive enough. Meanwhile, you got real comedians out there that are tearing up YouTube. They're rumbling on Rumble. They're creating clips on TikTok. They're building audiences from scratch. They don't need a network. They don't need a desk. They don't need a fake laugh band. They're raw. They're funny. People are tuning into them by the millions because it feels authentic. And you know what Kimmel feels like? He feels like your grandma when she tries to use slang she heard from a neighbor kid. It's cringe. It's forced. It's bless his heart. At least he's trying, but nobody's buying it. Now, the networks can slap reinstated all over the headlines, but you can't reinstate relevance. You can't reinstate funny. You can't reinstate the trust of people who tuned you out years ago, and I promise you, those people are not coming back. In fact, you know what's going to happen? Ratings are going to continue to tank. He'll do a few monologues where he takes the cheap shots at the conservatives. He'll cry about whatever the issue of the day is, and the audience will clap politely because that's what they're told to do. When the sign comes on in neon, it says clap or laugh or applause. But regular Americans like you and me, we're flipping through the channels if we're even up that late. There's nothing good on that late. Or better yet, they're going to be streaming podcasts and listening to comedians who actually make them laugh or catching up on content that doesn't insult their intelligence because the audience has moved on. The people have already voted with their eyeballs, and the vote wasn't even close. The people said, we don't want Kimmel. We don't need Kimmel. We're done with Kimmel. And here's the punchline. The irony of it all, actually, is the only people still watching Kimmel are the ones who already agree with him. He's preaching to a shrinking choir. It's an echo chamber of Hollywood elites nodding their heads, pretending it matters. But America, real America, they're too busy living real lives, working real jobs, raising real families, fighting real battles. They're not staying up until midnight to watch a millionaire celebrity cry about how hard it is to live in America. So congratulations, Jimmy, you've been reinstated. But here's the brutal truth. Ain't nobody watching. Nobody's waiting. And when you finally go off the air for good, it won't be with a bang, it'll be with a whimper because irrelevance isn't loud, it's quiet. And when the lights come on, the cameras roll, the jokes fall flat, and all you hear is the sound of people flipping the channel, that's what you're going to get. That's going to be the real late night comedy. Get my book, Born for Meaning. Go to bornformeaning.com. Get it over on Amazon. Make sure you're subscribed to YouTube or Rumble. Go over to where Apple podcasts are. 5-star rating. I need it for not only this show, but also before The Noise. If you're not tuning into Before the Noise at 8, 7 Central, sheesh, get on there, please. Rumble, YouTube, all the places. But go find Before the Noise on Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and review. Let's drive that further up the chart so we get some more folks on there. I think it's good. We're working through the book of John. We just switched over into John chapter 9 this morning. Having a good time with it. So I want you guys to join. Make sure that you're leaving the ratings, leaving the reviews. Leave a comment down below. I'm talking to you people over on YouTube. Y'all never leave enough comments. Down on YouTube, I want you to leave some comments. And go over there. Do it right now. In the meantime, have a good day. Have a fantastic day. Stay prayed up. God's moving, doing some cool things in our world, changing some hearts, changing some lives. I pray that he's changing yours like he's changing mine. So I'm going to pray for you. And I'm asking you to please pray for me, okay? Now is not the time for theological debates. Just let God work, man. Let God do some stuff in our lives. We need to be blessed. We've been a dry desert for a long time. So here we go. Go to watchchad.com. That's where all the fun stuff is. I'll be in Dallas here in a couple of weeks doing a couple of nights of shows. You can come check me out. And then I'm in Llano, Texas this weekend. We're doing some music out there in Llano. And then I think we got one more weekend of shows, maybe 2 for the rest of the year. And that's it. That's it. You know why? Because I'm not going that many, I'm not doing that much comedy. Speaking a lot, but I'm not doing that many comedy shows out there. You know why? Because I think the time we have right now, it's hot, baby. And I'm excited about it. So I love you. I love Jesus. I love what we're doing here. And I'm thankful that you're a part of the Chad Prather Show. So tune in tomorrow morning Before the Noise, 8, 7 Central, and then back on the Chad Prather Show tomorrow at 11, 10 Central. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the things you got to do. Love each other, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, God bless you. Bye.